Welcome to our Black Ember TKS review. When it comes to the comments section and requests from our community for what backpack brands to review, Black Ember has far and away been the #1 request. So I'm excited to announce this is the first of 4 Black Ember products that we're going to be reviewing over the next few weeks. I've been wearing this bad boy for the past week. I really wanted to test it out and get to know it. Which means that by the end of this review, you'll know exactly whether or not the Black Ember TKS is the sling/tech kit for you. Let's jump into it. Okay, first up, let's talk about the overall gist of the Black Ember TKS. And TKS, I assume, stands for Tech Kit, TK, and then Sling, because this is, in essence, a large tech kit that can be converted into a sling. Things are already getting exciting. It's 2.5 liters, which I think is a perfect size for a sling. It's a little bit more than a pocket reliever. You can actually fit a couple bulkier bits of gear in there. We'll sort of talk about that in the inside section of this review. Black Ember is a company that does not skimp on materials. I mean, everything from the materials to the hardware to the build, I mean, everything is just top notch. We got YKK zips, laser cut hypalon, and a killer exterior material from a company called Cordura, called Microhex HTX, which is apparently waterproof. It's absolutely water resistant. How waterproof it is, I'll leave to you to find out. You're more than welcome to throw this thing into a river and see if your stuff stays dry. But regardless, if you get caught in a rainstorm, we can confidently say that your gear will absolutely stay dry. The style of it is, it's really urban, right? And this might be one point of, I don't want to say criticism, but let's just say like from a vibe perspective, it's got like a darker feel to it. Like, let's compare it to the Aer Day Sling 2, right? Also a super urban-y sling, but it's just got less of a serious look to it, a little bit more of a quirkiness to it. Not super quirky, it's still like, I'm urban and dark materials, but this is like different genres of rock music. This would be like Linkin Park, like a little bit of rock mixed a little bit of hip hop, and this would be like Korn, new metal, which ultimately I think is cool, it's unique, but it's something to be aware of. But one thing I wanna mention in this gist section that I have to just make note of is this sling just feels different. And I mean that in the best way possible. Whether it's just the way the zippers open, or whether it's the way that the hardware sort of clicks and just like, there's a feel to this, like a sensory sort of an experience that was magical, and I haven't really felt it on many other slings. It was just really a cool experience, and I just want to say job well done, Black Ember, on that. And finally, you have 2 color options, a black and a camo, and the black version runs around $110 US. Okay, next up, let's talk about the outside of the Black Ember TKS. First up, let's talk about the exterior material. Like I said, it's from a company called Cordura, and Cordura just makes the best materials. And this Microhex THX, this is my first experience with this material, and I freaking love it. It's similar to Cordura's ballistic nylon. In fact, it is probably a ballistic nylon. And you can compare it to the Cordura 1680 ballistic nylon. This one's just a little bit finer and a little bit silkier, and I really like the look and the feel of it. And with the material, it sort of adds to the aesthetic, right? That smooth and silky sort of a vibe. You got the zipper cutting right through the middle, the black on the black. It looks really smart. And notice also, there's no branding. You don't see Black Ember's logo on the actual body of the sling, but it is on the zipper poles. And since we're there, let's talk about these zipper poles, because they're kind of cool, but kind of different. They got a real smooth feel to them, okay? Hypalon, laser cut. The zips themselves are YKK, really smooth. This is a waterproof PU-coated zipper, and sometimes PU-coated zips are a little more tougher to pull, but this is super smooth. I mean, can you one finger it? Absolutely. Look at that, I'm pinkying that. I'm not like crazy about the aesthetic of these zippers. They kind of add to that sort of gothy vibe that I was referring to. It's like I don't know, it's like the finger of like an evil witch or something. But they have a functionality to them, and this is quite cool. They are actually lockable. Lockable I use in quotations because this is not gonna completely stop a thief, but it will, it's like a theft deterrent, right? And it just gives you a little extra peace of mind that a thief is less likely to go in there and steal your. Let's go ahead and get inside the first compartment. This is the front zipper. We've got 3 things to talk about: keyring, pocket, and the cord pass-through holder. First up, the cord pass-through holder. You'll see once we get into the inside of the main compartment that there's obviously a section there where you can pass through a cord, and that means that you can charge your phone in this pocket. Black Ember is making a statement. They're saying, this is where your phone goes. They're saying, this is how we think that you should carry. And you're gonna see this a lot with Black Ember, not just this product, but their other products that we're gonna review later, is that they just sort of have a belief system for how you should carry things, and I kinda like that. Like in this day and age, there's so many different carrying options out there that to really distinguish yourself, to really separate yourself, you gotta say something. You gotta stand up for something, and Black Ember is doing that with this sling. They're saying, dude, this is where your fucking phone goes, and I love the diagonal cut of this pocket, because if you do have your phone in there, it just makes it a little bit easier to grab, right? It's not getting buried. You can go ahead, grab your phone, piece of cake. Bada bing, bada boom. Love this material too, nice, stretchy, elastic. I mean, that's a great elastic material. The back material is like a waterproof, sort of like a leathery feel to it. And then finally, let's talk about the keyring solution. Love what's happening here. Two reasons. One, the orange color just helps to kind of separate it in this dark compartment, right? So if it's there's a lack of light and you're like, I can't see my keys. The orange material helps to create like a highlight effect, which makes it easier to locate your keys. And then just the magnetic solution is fantastic. This little push right there, keys are out, unlock your door, pop them back in. Very easy to use and also very satisfying to use. And then with these lockable little Hypalon tab things, they also actually work as like leverage and you want to close, right? You just go ahead and grab this, makes the closing experience significantly more seamless. Okay, we'll talk about the main compartment in the next section. Let's flip it over and let's talk about the whole sling carrying experience. And while I may have been extremely like in love with this sling, this is where I'm gonna have a bit more criticism. First up, let's talk about it in sling mode since we're in sling mode already. We've got these two connectors on either side. This uses the same material, that Cordura. And then we switch to like a basic sort of nylon. And this is one of my criticisms of this sling is I feel like at the price point and how great these materials are, I was pretty disappointed by this material here. Two reasons why. Reason number one is just like the look and the feel. This feels so premium and smooth and sexy, and this feels a little bit more basic. It just seems like they kind of cut a corner on this material, which is fine, I guess, except when you're wearing it, because it's got kind of a rigid feel to it. The corners are a little sharp. That's fine if you're wearing a sling for like 5 minutes. But one day, I took this sling on like a 3-hour walk, strutting along the Hong Kong harbor, sweating my ass off, and I just started to notice this a little bit more. The corners, I was wearing a lighter t-shirt and the corners were like cutting into me. Not like cutting into me, I'm being a little dramatic, but like it just wasn't as comfortable as if it was maybe a softer, more finer material that you might see on like a Bellroy sling or an Aer sling. And then sometimes this would end up creeping up on my neck and the material was like on my neck. And I just wish that the feel and look of this material would match the feel and the look of this material. And while we're on the topic of things that I don't like about this sling, I'll sort of bring up the other thing, which is just sort of the fit of the sling when you're in sling mode. Now I like it in my sling. It's a perfect, just sort of locks into place, right? And there's two reasons. One, it's more comfortable, and two, it makes it easier to access both the compartments. But this one sort of like hangs over like this, and it doesn't feel as cozy. It doesn't feel as snug, and then therefore it's a little more challenging to find this compartment. But that aside, it's a pretty comfortable wear. We have got a Fidlock magnetic solution right here to connect the sling, and Fidlock, another name brand, and it's a company that just makes totally awesome magnets. And taking it off is super simple. Just pull that tab right there, and putting it back on is extremely satisfying. Ooh, very strong magnet, held in place. I love it. And then we got some hardware right here, pretty basic hardware. Who are you made by? I'm gonna guess Woojin, or are you made by, yep, Woojin, nailed it. Woojin, another good hardware company, very durable. And then if you wanna like loosen the sling, you can go ahead and do that right here. And you got this cool little pull tab right there. You do one of those, feel pretty badass. And then if you're like, okay, I'm done with sling mode, let's go back into tech kit mode. Go ahead and wrap this guy up, squeeze it on the back. Good to go, nice and clean. It actually, there's a lot of excess nylon material. You don't feel like it's gonna actually tuck in, but it does very well. And then if you wanna carry this sling like this or hang it up, you can also do that. And one more final note about the Black Ember TKS before we get into the inside is this. A lot of tech kits, actually most tech kits, have the ability to sort of stand up by themselves. This guy doesn't really do that, and there's a reason for that, which we'll talk about in the next section, which I think is worth it, but I'll let you be the ultimate judge. Let's talk about the inside of the Black Ember TKS. Yet again, we got the same laser cut Hypalon zipper pulls. These are cool too because they actually lock into each other. like this. It's got a really satisfying feel and sound to it. YKK zips, pretty easy to get in. And now, et voila, let's talk about the main compartment. Two sections. Section 1 is the mesh compartment here, and section 2 is the actual tech kit. Let's start with the main compartment. Really nice mesh here. Love the elasticity. Love the light highlight gray color. YKK zip, super smooth. And here I just got some keep clean stuff, tissues, sandy wipes. This is actually a pretty beefy compartment. And Black Ember advertises that you can fit like a light rain jacket in here, which you can absolutely do. Really like this compartment. But let's talk about easily the most unique characteristic of this sling and of Black Ember's products in general is this built-in origami tech compartment. On the outside, we have a pen holder. Slide the pen in there, good to go. But let's get into the inside. We got this little Hypalon pull tab right there, gets you access, unlocks the magnet, and then et voila, we have something cool. I've reviewed a lot of slings. I've never seen anything like this in a sling before. I've seen it in a tech kit before. It's sort of similar to the Peak Design tech kit where it's got the origami solution, but this is sort of fusing that into a sling, but cutting it in half, and I love it. I love it because if you think about your sling, it's sort of like a pocket reliever, right? You have a lot of smaller tidbits of gear. So for me, I carry things like my AirPods, portable battery, charging cable, another charging cable, nicotine stuff, and my shades. And this tech kit keeps every one of those little tidbits of gear properly organized and safe and easily accessible. And I love this material because A, it's a ripstop nylon, which means it's gonna be durable. And B, the gray color helps to give it a highlight effect, which makes it easier to find your gear. And speaking of highlight, it would be the highlight of my day if you hit the like button to let us know if you think we're doing a good job. Thank you so much. And then we got the cord pass-through hole right there, which you can charge your phone with in the main compartment, the front compartment right here. And then closing, super simple, very satisfying. Love that. Let's chat about the overall pros and the cons of the Black Ember TKS. Pro number 1, the design. There's so many cool things happening with this without being too much. It's a perfect middle ground between feature heavy while also having a minimalist and simplistic sort of a feel. Pro number 2 is the materials, the exterior material, the hardware, the zips. I'm talking top-notch stuff. And pro number 3 for me more specifically is I just love this interior tech kit. I think it's fantastic. But I got some cons. Con number 1 for me is it does have, for lack of a better word, a little bit of a gothy sort of a vibe to it. It's not too over the top, but to me it's semi-noticeable. And con number 2 for me is gonna be the comfort when wearing it in sling mode. I think the combination of the average nylon materials plus it not fitting perfectly flush on the torso, like I said, just kind of make it's a good wearing experience. It's not exceptional though. So if you are still here and you're like, I have evaluated the pros and the cons, and I've decided the pros outweigh the cons, and I'm gonna buy that sling, then we do ask that you use the first link in the description. That link makes sure that you get the best price, and it also helps to support our Nomads Nation YouTube channel. Thank you so much. But let's say you're not quite sold. I mean, you're still here, so you're like, I'm close, but is there something better? There might be. Here's some recommendations for you. Alternative recommendation number 1 is the Aer Day Sling 3. This is gonna be a great sling for you if you love the urban vibes of the Black Ember TKS, but you just don't need all those extra features, that little tech pouch if you're like, I'm not really feeling that. Just want a couple of pockets, call it a day. Then you'll love the Aer Day Sling 3, and you should watch the full review, which you can find below in the description, down there. Alternative recommendation number 2 is going to be the Alpaka Elements Tech Case. This is gonna be a great alternative for you if you're looking for something that's really a tech kit first, that can also be carried as a crossbody maybe sometimes. If that sounds like you should watch the full review, which you can find below in the description. Alternative recommendation number 3 is going to be the modern Dayfarer Active Sling. This sling is gonna be great for you if you like the urban vibes of the Black Ember slings and the Air slings, but you just don't love the look. You want something a little bit more stylish. That's exactly what the modern Dayfarer Active Sling is, and it never compromises on features or materials. To learn more about the modern Dayfarer Active Sling, take a look in the description below where you'll find a link to our full review. All right, if you're still here, I wanna know, what do you think about the Black Ember TKS? Is it as gothy as I'm saying it is? Do you think that this tech kit is necessary? Would this piss you off, or do you love it, like me? And if you own the Black Ember TKS, I'd love to hear your thoughts. How has your experience been with it so far? Has it stood the test of time? Please let us know in the comments. Your comments help this community and the internet as a whole be a more educated place. I'm Aaron, this is Nomads Nation, and we'll see you next time.